Patliputra, 2 centuries after Ashoka. As Pushyamitra and Menander test an empire's edge, a Sanskrit grammar quietly records their war. As Pushyamitra seizes Patliputra and Menander rides past the Indus, a calm grammar book notes, Yavana raids on Saketa and Mandhyamika, quite proof that the northwest frontier will never feel safe again. Here, from Saketa to Patliputra, dusty roads carry news of Yavana armies and a shrinking shield between India and the northwest. In an age when Yavana kings rode from the northwest and Magad still dreamed it ruled all, a quiet grammar lesson caught the thunder between Pushyamitra Shunga and Menander of the frontier. A few generations after Ashoka, the land between the Ganga and the Indus no longer answered to one emperor. Old Magad still sat in the east, but new horsemen watched from the northwest. The Mauryan lion pillars still glowed in the sun, but their power was memory. In their shadow, successor kings argued over tax, tribute, and the right to command men to die. In Patliputra, the Shunga general Pushyamitra claimed Magad's throne. Far away,
The road east is not a dream, it is a test of how far a king's name can travel.
Coins in strange letters crossed caravans and rivers, stamped with Indo-Greek names. They tell us now that Yavana courts had become part of the political sky over northwestern India. Between these powers lay Saketa in the central Ganga plain, a city of merchants and officials used to Magdhan orders, not to the thought of Yavana soldiers at its gate. From Saketa's ramparts, Pushyamitra measures the Yavana tide. Every arrow a promise that Magad will not kneel. And in another town, perhaps close in time, a scholar named Patanjali taught Sanskrit grammar. He listened for tiny sounds in verbs, yet the world outside pressed into his examples. To show how a verb could act in the past, he did not choose a harmless tale. He wrote of Yavanas who had surrounded Saketa and Mandhyamika, as if the siege still echoed in his pupils' ears. The Mahabhashya's line is brief, almost dry, yet it assumes its audience knows. Yavana armies have stood before Indian walls. The grammar of their fear needs no gloss. We do not know if those Yavanas actually took Saketa, or if they turned away. We only know that their presence was vivid enough to serve as a plain, an ornamented example of past action. Mandhyamika too appears in that same breath of grammar. The Yavanas have been there, says the line, and scholars argue still whether this means a raid, a siege, or the mere terror of rumor. The Mahabhashya is a grammar, not a war chronicle. It names no commanders, counts no dead, yet its simple mention proves that frontier shock had entered the very teaching of language. We can imagine but cannot assert. Councils in Patliputra debating the threat, frontier chiefs watching the roads, trade routes shifting as Yavana, and Indian authorities tested each other's reach.
We rule no longer in Ashoka's shadow, but under new clouds. We must learn this sky.
Drums thunder as Pushyamitra leads the counterstroke. Shunga spears, lowering like a forest against the advancing Indo-Greek line. Did Menander himself ever stand before Saketa or dream of Patliputra? The coins and the texts speak, but they do not answer with certainty. Historians argue the line his campaigns truly traced. Across rivers and ridges, their clash carves a boundary between fading Mauryan memory and the new Indo-Greek edge. Later, the Yuga Purana would speak in a prophetic voice of Yavanas pressing toward even Patliputra, blending memory and imagination into a warning about how ages crumble and new powers test old walls. Today we lace together Patanjali's offhand example, the schematic Yuga Purana, and the cold shine of coins to see the outline of a time when Indo-Greek and Shunga horizons overlapped uneasily. A single, calm line in a grammar book has carried to us the tremor of that age. when Magad learned that the northwest frontier had changed and even the rules of language had to watch a war pass by.